Am I the idiot for demanding that I have a vehicle considered mine even though our finances are joint? My husband, male 33, and I, female 31, are financially comfortable and live well below our means. We both keep our own spending accounts and credit cards, and any excess is put into a shared savings account. About 11 years ago, I bought a new car that I brought into the relationship. This car was paid off prior to our finances merging and has always been my car. He bought a well-used, super rusty truck a few years ago for $2,000, and it had had a lot of problems. This has been his truck. We've always used my car for any distance driving and really for most things outside of towing or when we occasionally are both going somewhere separate at the same time. This is unusual because we both work at home and we spend most of our time together. This arrangement works great in my opinion. Late last summer, my car broke down. It needs a difficult-to-obtain part and is out of commission until at least June. We recently had a baby, so I've been looking at vehicles with a higher safety rating for our Visnoy area anyways, so I wasn't too heartbroken. I drive my son to daycare every day, so I need a vehicle. I ramped up my research and went to 7 dealerships to test drive a bunch of SUVs and chose one. It was pricey, nearly $30,000, so I brought my husband to drive it, and we agreed that it was a good fit. I told him I could get a loan or we could pay cash, and that it was his choice. We paid cash, and the car was put under my name. That same week, he took his truck in to get brakes done. The mechanic told him the truck was so rusty that it was going to fall off the frame and wasn't worth the price of the brakes. This is obviously a safety issue for our son, so he got rid of the truck. Now the issue. I told him to get a new car, and he won't. Instead, we have been a one-vehicle family, which has caused problems. He argues with me that the car is not my car, it's our car. I told him if he wants this one, I can buy another one, but I want to have my own vehicle where I always have priority when it comes to driving it. I know some families only keep one car, but financially, there is no reason for us to do it, and it's frustrating that when he takes the car, the baby and I are stuck at home, and vice versa. It's fine if we share only until June when the car that was mine gets fixed, but I don't want that to be my car anymore. I did all the research and work involved in picking and buying the new car. He gets irritated when I call it my car or thank him for putting gas in my car, etc. I think it's totally normal for an adult to want their own car, and he thinks I'm an idiot for refusing to consider it belonging to the family. We agree to ask you, am I the idiot for demanding that I have a vehicle considered mine, even though our finances are joint? Edit to add. We live about 20 minutes from my family. When he was out, I'd usually use this time to spend with my family. For now, that's not feasible if he takes the car. Not the idiot. The problem isn't that you want a car to be considered just yours. It's that your family needs a second car. Sharing a vehicle when you can easily afford a second one is ridiculous. Tell your husband if he doesn't want to buy a second one, you will take care of it and buy one for yourself. You're the idiot. If you want this car to be yours, buy your partner out. You can't have him pay for your car with your shared money. Not the idiot. We have 2 cars, mine and his. Mine is much more than a family car. All keys are available, and if my husband needs my car for some reason, he lets me know and takes it. I did the same with him. I picked out my car, and he picked out his. We pay for them from a joint account. Seriously, this is normal, assuming you can afford it, and from your description, you can. I don't understand your husband's stance. Is she wrong for demanding the car? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for refusing to marry under my fiance's religion? So my fiancé, male 29, and I, female 29, got engaged after 5 years of being together. We delayed any planning to avoid me from getting distracted, since I'm about to take the bar exam, and I tend to hyperfix it. I'm Roman Catholic, and have always dreamt of being married in a Catholic church. My fiancé knows about this and knows I've never really had any celebrations, birthdays, achievements, or other life events celebrated in my life, so I'm just waiting for me to get married. My fiancé's father has a high position in their church, which is equal to that of a priest. So I've thrown away my dreams of a church wedding and said I'm okay with a destination wedding. He agreed that he also doesn't want to be married in their church anyway, since the location is extremely inconvenient for everyone, and it wouldn't look good in photos. We haven't talked about the wedding until one day he said that FFIL said that if we're getting married to a Catholic priest, it would be better if we just do a civil wedding. I got hurt and mad and told my fiancé that FFIL shouldn't be deciding for us since he isn't the one getting married and he wouldn't even be giving a single penny for the wedding. So why should his opinion matter? my FFIL, and I never really had a good relationship. He refuses to accept my friend requests, always ignores me during gatherings, was pretty excited when my fiance's ex, who goes to their church, contacted him and asked for fiance's number. And during the few private masses I attended, he'd always talk badly about rich people while looking at me. Our families have a significant financial difference, and my fiance said that it might just be because my father-in-law is insecure. The house we're living in, my fiance's car, and gold jewelry are all from my parents. Father-in-law is not the provider type. My fiance got mad and accused me of disrespecting his father. I told him father-in-law had disrespected me first, and they should not have planned the wedding without asking for my opinion. He then accused me of just wanting to always get my way and that I am just trying to be controlling. He reasoned that it would be embarrassing if other people found out that the son of a priest got married under Roman Catholicism. I told him all I wanted was for him to acknowledge the pain I felt when my beliefs were disregarded, and my dreams were crushed when I was told I'd only get married in a civil wedding. He told me, why would I even care what priest officiates our wedding since it's not in a church? He later admitted that he assumed that because he's the son of a priest, I would just convert to their religion, then accused me of not accepting that part of him. I simply told him that he should have looked for a girl who's already of their own. Both of us won't budge, so I said if he wants a civil wedding, then we'd just do the bare minimum of 2 witnesses, and neither families are invited. I feel like I may have overreacted a bit, so am I the idiot? Edit. We're part of the Eastern Catholic Church, not covered by prohibition of outdoor weddings. Fiance's religion is derived from Catholicism. He knew I didn't want to be part of their church due to their members. Not the idiot. It's understandable that you would want to plan your wedding with your partner and not have him try to plan with his dad without you. Going to be real, were there never any discussions about the role religion would have in your lives going forward? If he's saying he assumed you would convert, it doesn't sound like it. You're the idiot. You think your religion is more important than his. The compromise is a civil marriage. Who do you think is in the right? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for not spending my birthday with my mom? My parents have 50-50 custody of me, but usually they don't force me to stay anywhere because of custody. I'm allowed to stay with whoever I want. I, a 16-year-old female, have been living with my dad for 5 years. I visit my mom occasionally, but I prefer my dad's home because I have to share a room in my mom's home, which I hate. My 17th birthday is in 2 weeks, and my mom is insisting I spend my birthday with her and her kids. The problem is that my dad and I were planning to celebrate my birthday at my favorite restaurant. It's a very expensive restaurant, and the food is perfect. So, if I spend my birthday with my mom, I'll have to eat her food instead. I told my mom that unless she can take me somewhere like that restaurant, I'd rather spend my birthday with my dad. She said she can't afford it, and I said fine, but I'm not coming then. An hour later, my aunt, who is my mom's sister, sent me a long text calling me an ungrateful idiot and lecturing me about how I should treat my mom. So, I had to block her. I think they are very unreasonable. It's my birthday, and I should be able to spend it how I'd want. You're the idiot because of your wording to your mother. Want to spend it with your father? Fine, but I think it's rather harsh to not spend it with your mother because she can't afford it. Not the idiot for wanting to spend your birthday with your dad, but you're the idiot for going for who has more money. Your dad seems to be able to take you to nice places, and your mom can't. So you clearly favor your dad just because your mom can't afford those things. You come across like a little bit of a brat who sees one thing here: money. Of course, I can't judge how you usually are, but from this story alone, you sound like that to me. Your mother is trying to spend time with you and give you a nice birthday, but you are only after the money. Now, am I an idiot because I didn't go to my mom's 60th birthday after she was excited to see my new baby? I'm a 24-year-old female, and I have a 3-month-old baby with my husband. I have an older sister, a 38-year-old female who is child-free. My older brother, a 42-year-old male, has 3 children. He's been with his partner, a 45-year-old male, for nearly 15 years. Their eldest, a 24-year-old female, is the biological daughter of my brother's partner from a past relationship. Their other 2 children were adopted at ages 5 and 7, and are currently 14-year-old and 16-year-old males. When I gave birth to my daughter, my mother cried because she was so happy to see the first baby born into the family. That didn't sit well with me, but I was tired and didn't think much about it. Since then, she's only gotten worse. She keeps saying things to me like she's so happy to finally have a baby around to spoil. I've asked her not to spoil the baby since my husband and I are fairly anti-consumerist, and we already have everything we need for the baby. Also, we wanted to keep things relatively gender neutral, and we chose not to know the sex before birth. Now my mother is going all out with pink gifts, insisting no one will know she's a girl if she's dressed like that. She complains that neither my sister nor I are feminine enough for her, and has remarked that I'm at least maternal enough to want to experience motherhood. Then she went so far as to say that she's so happy to have her first granddaughter to spoil. That finally set me off. I told her she has a granddaughter already, and I don't appreciate how she's treating my baby preferentially to my brother's kids. Her claim is that they live farther away, 1 hour, and are all older, not babies, and she's just excited about a baby. We had an argument about it, and I haven't been talking with her much for the 2 weeks since then. My mother recently turned 60, and her party was today. I had texted her last week that I will not be attending. Her read receipts are on, and it was read immediately. Apparently at the party, she acted surprised and hurt when we didn't show up. My phone started blowing up with calls from family, most of whom were simply asking if I was alright, because it's not like me to be a no-show. I let them know I had told her I was not going to the party. This caused quite the dramatic stir. My mother is claiming she doesn't know what she did wrong. Some of the family members that called advised me that some things you just have to put aside and show up for your family, even when you're mad at them. Basically, they were telling me to be the bigger person or else I'm an idiot. It's hard for me to exactly put it into words why I'm upset with her, and I'm second guessing. Maybe she really is just happy to have a baby around. Maybe I'm overreacting. Not the idiot. Your mom's behavior is atrocious, and it's really great of you to stick up for your brother's kids. Treating adopted grandkids or stepchildren like they don't count, even unintentionally, is super crappy of your mom. And it also sounds like she's trying to push her values on you to boot. We currently have a baby and are doing everything gender neutral. And if one of our parents tried to do what your mom is doing, I'd be furious. We know we've been so lucky that they haven't, and it definitely makes me feel for you that you haven't been as lucky. You're the idiot. It's the first baby born in your generation. She's making a fuss for a baby, not dismissing your brother's adopted children. You seem very intolerant, wanting her to be like you. Ironically, when you insist that your daughter will be brought up to be herself. Get off your high horse and stop gatekeeping. This, whether you like it or not, is factually your mother's first baby grandchild. Should she have gone? Let me know in the comments. Now, would I be the idiot if I kept my sister's gift? I, 22, female, received a package from Amazon a few days ago. It came by UPS, and I signed for it. When I opened the box, there was a Switch OLED, 2 games, a memory card, headphones, a case, cute rubber things for the control sticks, and a bag to carry everything. I then saw the Amazon invoice, and the bill was close to $1,000. I didn't order this package, so I called Amazon to make sure I wasn't charged. I found out I wasn't charged, and that someone sent me this package. Since they didn't say it was a gift, Amazon couldn't tell me who sent it. I was super happy about my gift since my birthday was coming up. I literally cried because I was so happy. I never received such a nice gift. Everything was to my taste. I loved the games, case, headphones, and bag. I opened everything right away. I played with my Switch and put on the case. I got a call a few hours later from my mom. She asked if I received her package. I decided to play dumb for fun. I wanted her to tell me she sent me a birthday gift. She told me she ordered my younger sister a birthday gift from Amazon and shipped it to my apartment, so my sister couldn't find it and ruin her surprise. My mom had my sister's best friend that got the gifts to make sure it was something she liked. My sister was born on February 29th, so my mom always went all out on her birthday. She felt bad that my sister couldn't celebrate her actual birthday. I asked my mom what she got me for my birthday, and she said I was too old for birthdays. My sister is turning 19, but she still gets gifts. My mom stopped giving me gifts when I was 17. My dad always gives me a gift card for $20 to $30. I always felt jilted at birthdays. My mom gave me things I needed like a calculator for school, new rain boots, and other necessities. My sister got fun gifts. We were lower middle class, so we couldn't afford nice things. There was a clear difference in treatment. I had chores, my sister didn't. She did something wrong. I got blamed for not watching her. She was always the favorite, and she knew it. She would rub it in all the time. She would say it's because she was prettier, smarter, more likable, and light-skinned. The only thing I'm willing to admit is she is light-skinned, which gives her pretty privilege where I'm from. I'm dark brown. Sorry for rambling. I just wanted to provide background information. I want to keep the package, but I'm not sure if I should, considering it was not meant for me. In case anyone was wondering, my sister has a Switch Lite. Also, my mom always does things without asking me, so she didn't feel the need to ask for my permission to use my address. I was invited to my sister's party, and I did buy my sister a gift. It was a gift card worth $100 to her favorite store and a Starbucks cup. I may not like my sister, but I don't want to be a nasty person. If you vote for me, idiot, I'll just buy her gifts from Amazon because I can't give her used items. Edit number 1. I told my mom I did not receive the package. Edit number 2. I regret writing this post. I know I am the idiot. I just wanted a third party to justify my actions. I plan on telling my mom what I did tomorrow. I will tell her I thought it was for me and played the games. I'll offer her the money or agree to repurchase the items off Amazon. UPTATD. I went to my parents' house today. I told them I opened the package and played the games since I thought it was for my birthday. I told them I lied about receiving the package as a joke at first, but then I kept it up because I was embarrassed. My mom was upset and said, "How could I be that dumb?" She said I should have known it was for my sister. She then brought up how no one would give me something that expensive, which hurt. I asked her if she wanted the money, and she said no. She told me to keep the package and that she would rebuy the gifts for my sister. She said there was no way she could give used items to my sister. I know I should be happy that I got to keep the package and I didn't have to pay anything, but I feel really bad. Everyone sucks here. The audacity of your mom to buy your sister a $1,000 gift package when not giving you anything at all for your birthday amazes me. I'd consider going no contact after this. Consider putting everything back in the box and giving the gift personally to your sister. Explaining you thought it was for you since your birthday is also coming up. Tell her what you've received and make it clear how you feel about this. Not the idiot. It was addressed to you specifically and sent to your address. You have every right to keep that Switch, and absolutely every right to cut your mom off so she can't torment you anymore. You're the idiot because you've essentially stole, but I really am sympathetic. Your mom just sounds awful. I'm so sorry you have to deal with this. I have to watch my mother-in-law do this to my wife by spoiling the frick out of my sister-in-law while treating my wife like fricking Cinderella. Am I the idiot for calling my high school teacher a Karen and refusing to apologize? I'm a male high school student, age 17, and I work a part-time job. I work every day except Sundays and Mondays. 2 years ago, my mom, a female age 51, abandoned me. I woke up one morning to my aunt banging on my front door, saying that my mom called her and admitted to moving away with her boyfriend. My aunt and I called my mom frantically, and when she finally answered, she told us that she never wanted to be a mom. Up until this point, my mom had been amazing. She had a good-paying job, was on the PTA and everything. I begged her to come home, but she said that for her mental health, she couldn't do this any longer and that since I was 15 at the time, I could basically take care of myself. She left me about $500, but that was it. My aunt and uncle, who is paralyzed, don't charge me anything for rent, but I still felt obligated to find a job to help out. My aunt can't work because she's a full-time caregiver, so they make ends meet with my uncle's monthly disability check. My aunt refuses to take any money from me but asked me to buy household things like toiletries. Because of this, I was able to save enough money to buy a car. My pastor owns a used car lot, and he slashed one of his car's prices in half just so I could afford it. Since I'm a senior, I usually go to my car during the opportunity block and study hall to get some sleep. I have all of the credits needed to graduate, except for 2 core classes. Seniors who have enough credits to graduate are still required to come to school, but they have opportunity blocks for studying, but most just end up in the library on the computers. Teacher and student parking lots are separate, so I was surprised when one of the 10th grade teachers knocked on my window and told me that I couldn't sleep in my car during school hours. She said it went against safety policies. I explained that I was on the opportunity block, but she told me that I needed to be inside. I did what she told me to do to avoid an argument, but the next day I went back to my car. I laid the seat flat, but she still found me. She told me that if she saw me in my car again, that she was going to have me written up. I told her that I worked and that I would only end up going to sleep in the library. She got mad. She called me insubordinate and told me that she was going to get security because I wouldn't listen to her. I called her Karen because she yelled and demanded things of me when I wasn't bothering anyone. I ended up in the office, and the principal said that he was surprised by my attitude, but asked me to apologize. I told him no because I had done nothing wrong. He said that if I didn't apologize, I'd be sent to ISS for the week. which is where I am now. Surprisingly, no one called my aunt to tell her what happened. My uncle has a pretty bad bed sore, so she's really stressed about that. So I kept this to myself. I spoke with my pastor. He says he sees where I'm coming from, but still thinks I should apologize, but I refuse. Am I the idiot? You're the idiot. I can see where you are coming from. The teacher has a point. It is a security issue to let students, minors, sleep in cars unsupervised. The school is liable for your safety, so they have certain requirements you have to follow. It may not make sense to you, but that's the way things are. On top of intentionally violating security protocol, you were very rude. That's 2 things you did wrong. You should apologize. Not the idiot. However, play their game and apologize. You're so close to finishing high school, it's not worth making waves on your way out. Nap in the library for now, and if anyone gives you poop, go to the nurse's office and ask if you can nap there. Regarding the second text, please find the corrected text below. Am I the idiot for telling my boyfriend he screwed up, and he was the one who acted like a jerk in a restaurant? My boyfriend and I are both in our early 20s. This just happened like an hour ago. We meet each other for lunch a lot. Today we went to this Mexican place we'd gone to a few times before and had pretty good food. The short of it is my boyfriend wanted shrimp tacos. Not to be bogus or anything, but I'm sure you all know the type of place I'm talking about. I advised him that getting shrimp probably wasn't the best idea. He insisted on wanting shrimp tacos though. Naturally, he said they were terrible. I looked at them and they did not look good, so I believed him. He ate like half of one taco out of the 3 it came with. He was voicing his displeasure the whole time, but he had no time to order again because he needed to get back to work. When the check came, he told the server that the tacos were terrible. And the evidence is right there that he only ate half of one taco. He told the server he wouldn't be paying for the tacos. He said he would be paying cash and would pay for my food, the guacamole we got as an appetizer, and the margaritas. But he would not be paying for the tacos. The server got a manager who eventually agreed to take the tacos off of the bill. He paid for what he said he'd pay for, left a crappy tip, $5 on a $44 bill, and we left. I told him he embarrassed me, and he should have listened to me in the first place. He was angry, saying now he has to spend more money to pick up Wendy's on his way to work. He justified his poor tip by saying the server tried to tell him he needed to pay for the food he didn't eat, so the server was lucky to get what he got. I still think he brought this upon himself, so I'm mad. I told him again this is his fault, and he had no reason to act like a jerk to the server and embarrass me. Am I the idiot? In this scenario, you are the idiot. It's a reasonable assumption that food at a restaurant will be safe for consumption, even if shrimp quality can be inconsistent. You seem to be pressing him to admit that you were right and he was wrong. You got fed bad food, went hungry, had a bad time, and you think you're the victim for being embarrassed. Not the idiot. Anyone who is rude to servers or restaurant workers isn't a good person. The server didn't buy the meal ingredients or cook them. It wasn't their fault the tacos were bad. It's also rude to argue with a manager about not paying. If you're told no, then you pay and don't go back if you don't want to. Most restaurants will either remake the food or give you something else, but not necessarily refund you. Should he have kept his cool? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for suggesting rehoming my fiance's dog? My fiancé, a 23-year-old male, adopted his dog about 1.5 years before he and I, a 21-year-old female, met. While the dog is super sweet, he's also the craziest dog I've ever met. He barks excessively, pees when he's excited, chews furniture when he's bored, and the only command he sometimes responds to is sit. Sounds like typical puppy behavior, right? But this dog is not a puppy. He's 3 years old. Admittedly, I am not much of a dog person, but I've been open to the idea of having this dog. However, now we're running into more issues than just dealing with the dog's behavior. Both my fiancé and I currently live at home, with our parents, in towns about a 1.5-hour drive apart. He graduated from university last May and is struggling to find a stable job. I am a senior graduating this May with a good job already lined up in my town. We hope to try and buy or rent a place together when I graduate. Of course, in order to do that, my fiancé needs a stable job either here, in my town, or remote. Now to the situation that brought this conversation to light. My fiancé has an interview set up with a good company in my town. If he is offered the position, we have no idea what we'd do about his living situation. My parents are open to him staying with us for a couple of months until I graduate, and we can afford a place of our own. But they will not put up with this dog, and due to the context above, I don't blame them. My fiance's parents, while used to living with the dog, both do not deserve to have the dog dumped on them and have health issues that would prevent them from giving the dog the care it needs. If my fiancé is offered the position, it would frankly be stupid of him to refuse. He needs a good job and fast, and so I brought up rehoming the dog. Now, before people start going crazy about needing to take responsibility for your pets, I do not at all mean we should dump the dog at a shelter. I want to put in the time to find the dog a nice family with energetic, middle-aged kids that love the dog and play with him regularly. Honestly, even if we found a way to keep the dog around, I think the dog would be miserable. I don't think it would be right to leave the dog locked up at home from 8 to 5 Monday through Friday while my fiancé and I are at work and or school. I wouldn't wish that life on any dog, but especially not a dog this energetic. My fiancé is angry I'd even brought up the idea. He says the dog is his best friend and that this isn't an option. He also accused me of just thinking of his dog as an inconvenience. I wouldn't say I think of the dog as an inconvenience. I know the dog means a lot to my fiancé, but honestly, yes, the dog is making things much more difficult, and its uncontrollable behavior isn't helping. If I did have to live with this dog, I would absolutely try my best to make it work, going to training classes and enforcing positive behaviors at home. But I do think that rehoming may be a better option. So am I the idiot for suggesting rehoming my fiance's dog? You're the idiot. You're complaining about and wanting to rehome a dog that you don't even live with. You claim that you're all for training the dog and taking care of it. So do that. Right now, you're inventing a problem just so you can push your own version of a solution. It sounds to me like a play for control more than anything else. This is further supported by your assertion that he must find work either in your town or remotely. I get that you have a job lined up, but you haven't started it yet. Your assumption that he needs to make all of these changes to support your whims is unfair, to say the least, especially since it sounds like you're making zero compromises on your side. Not the idiot. Sadly, people will jump at you, insisting you are a cruel and selfish person. I will likely get downgraded because I disagree with them. I think it's ridiculous to put any animal above the well-being of your life. My well-being matters. I spent money on the items in our home. Smells matter to me. I have adverse reactions to them. It's one thing to raise a puppy. It's a completely different thing to deal with a destructive dog. Would you keep the dog? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for making a driver give me his insurance after he hit my car? I was driving home from practice today, and my sister was in the passenger seat. I was in a rush to get home. While I was driving, I was in the middle lane out of 3. A person in the lane to my right was trying to switch lanes in front of me, and I wasn't letting them. They had been driving slow, and I didn't feel like letting them in because I was going faster, but their lane was close to ending, and when it did, they'd have to make a turn. There was no car directly behind me. If they wanted to, they could have slowed down even more and switched lanes behind me. They didn't want to do that but were getting impatient since I wasn't letting them in. So they decided to switch lanes anyway and try to scare me into letting them in, even though they knew I was beside them. I didn't budge, and they swept the side of my car and went back to their lane. I slowed down and told my sister to take a picture of their license plate. I rolled down the window and had her signal the driver to pull over. They pulled over, and I told them to give me their insurance. They had scratched up the right side of my car pretty good, as well as the left side of their own car. The driver told me that they wouldn't be able to afford the cost of their insurance rate increasing from the accident and asked me to let it go. I told them I wasn't going to let it go and that if they couldn't afford to pay for the damages, they shouldn't have caused it. They gave me their insurance info, but they called me a heartless idiot and said I should have just let them switch lanes. I think I'm in the right, and it's their fault for recklessly trying to force me to yield, but my sister thinks I should have just let them change lanes, and I shouldn't have taken their insurance since my parents can afford to pay the damages, although they would be pissed about it. I told her the driver could have been lying to get out of paying, and that they brought it on themselves. We argued over it while I finished the drive home. The argument has stuck with me through the night, so I went to ask here. So let me know, am I the idiot? Edit. I saw someone bring it up, so I just wanted to clarify that when I say I had them give me their insurance, I mean that I went through the normal process for after a crash to have insurance handle it. In my state, you exchange insurance, license, and call the cops. I answered questions from the authorities and gave them my insurance. I let them handle the other driver once they arrived. The process went relatively quickly, and I drove home when they said I could. I shortened it for the post, But I realize it's probably good to clarify this for anyone who is worried about if I went through the proper process. Edit 2. I've seen people bring this up, so I want to clarify it here. The other car was in a turn lane, not a zipper merge. At the end of the lane, you have to make a right turn into a shopping center. Additionally, I've also seen people be confused by my poor phrasing of some things, so I'll try to be clearer about the situation. I was going at a consistent speed of 48 miles per hour. The speed limit is 45. People in my area honk and tailgate if you go the speed limit. It's normal to go 2 to 3 over. Cops in my area don't care unless you're going 5 or more over, so it's typically safer to speed slightly. To my left was the fast lane, where there were cars going well over 50, and I remember being easily passed many times. To my right was the turn-only lane. The right lane doesn't last long. Most of my drive home is 2 lanes, then it splits into 3 for a short time. The third lane is mostly used for people who want to make turns, although some people also use it as a way to go slower. It first begins a little bit before it gives the opportunity to turn onto the highway, then it turns to a church, finally, it turns to the shopping center, and then goes back to 2 lanes. I usually stay in the right lane because the turn to get to my neighborhood and house is from the right lane, so it's easiest to stay in this one lane the whole drive. The person in the turn-only lane was going somewhere between 35 to 40 miles per hour, and must not have realized it was turn-only. I was in the process of passing them when they turned on their turn signal. The front half of my car was aligned with the back half of their car. I hope that I have cleared up some questions. Everyone sucks here. Congratulations on standing your ground and not letting someone whose lane was ending merge in front of you. You ended up with a scratched-up car that your parents will have to pay to fix if it turns out the other driver's insurance lapsed or was canceled. Maybe one day, when you're more mature and mom and dad don't pay your body shop bills, you'll try harder to avoid accidents. Not the idiot. It's on the merger to find a place to merge into, so they're an idiot for hitting your car anyway. They're also an idiot for trying to keep this stuff off record, as depending on who you have insurance with, all of this has to be reported to the police anyway. Was this his fault? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for making fun of my father for crying while watching the movie Up? My dad likes to bother me for having childish interests. I collect Lego, watch animated movies, date people who are into cosplay like I am, etc. Yes, I do all that stuff. I am also 35 with a career, and I own my own home, well, me and the bank for now. I played a fairly rough sport at an intercollegiate level. I am pretty comfortable with my masculinity, and find his lack of understanding more amusing than hurtful. I was over at his place with my girlfriend, and we were talking about Netflix because he uses my account, and they are getting finicky about it. I said that Disney Plus was still okay to use, and he started in on me for watching kids shows. He and my mom watch old TV shows and nature shows on it. He is an ass, so he asked my girlfriend if I did cosplay as a girl. She is not as used to him as I am, and I had to move the conversation along before she started something. So I convinced him to watch a movie with us so I could show him why I enjoyed the movies. I chose Up. He would not shut up during the beginning when the kids met, but he was intent during the part with no dialogue. He and my mom were both crying at the end when the old guy was sitting alone on the steps to his house. I paused it and asked him if he needed a hanky. He called me an idiot and got up and left. My mom said there was stuff in that scene that probably brought up bad feelings for him. She did not elaborate. I apologized to him, and then I asked if he understood that the cartoons I watch are multi-layered and aren't just for kids. He said he understood, but he is still upset that I mocked him for crying. He has had no problem belittling me for my choices for over 20 years, but he is bothered because I made fun of his emotions. Am I the idiot? You're the idiot. You had the win. You showed your dad that animated films are amazing art when they are at their best, and then you stooped to his level. You did the toxic masculinity thing and mocked a man for showing emotions. That's your father, and he had a breakthrough that you could have cherished and used as a bonding experience, and you threw it away. Be better. Not the idiot. A dose of his own medicine. Definitely food for thought. Maybe take him out for a beer and ask him how he feels, if it changed how he thought. Say you're sorry again for the jab, but give him the opportunity to deal with the situation as a team with you, to grow with you in a way a man of his generation would understand. Beer for sure. Should the son have held back? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you want more fun stories, like and subscribe. Am I the idiot for being all over my husband at dinner with my family because my aunt was telling everybody we were divorced? Our marriage had a rocky start, but things are better between us now. My husband never normally comes to events with my family anymore because he has issues with my dad and brother, so we thought it was better for our marriage and my relationship with my family if I go alone. My extended family hasn't seen him in over 3 years, and my aunt was convinced I'm divorced for some reason. I didn't actually realize she thought I was divorced until she told my cousin she would be divorced at 25 like me, but she didn't wait until they were older to marry her fiancé. I was offended and upset, especially when she refused to believe I was still married. So I pretty much begged my husband to come to dinner with my family to prove a point. During the dinner, I could tell he didn't want to be there, and he was being a lot more touchy than normal. So I was being more affectionate to show I appreciated him coming and to prove a point to my aunt. I warned my dad and brother that he would be attending, and they both promised to behave. But they still ended up having a fight with him because my brother rudely asked me if I had to be all over him, and that he didn't need to see some jackass groping his little sister. In hindsight, I should have predicted my family would react like that since I know how they feel about my husband, so I should have toned it down. But was I the idiot? Everyone sucks here. In my many years of being alive, I always noticed that the couple that gropes each other during dinner does not have a stable relationship. If you feel the need to mark your territory, then something is off. Weird that your family has not seen him in 3 years, and odd that they don't just ask if you are divorced. You're the idiot. You pressured your husband to go to a dinner he didn't want to be at in the first place, and then you used him to show off to your family with PDA that probably made everyone uncomfortable. Your insecurity should not be put on other people like that. Not the idiot, but your family sounds delightful. We do this at my family events to distract him from his social anxiety. It makes it more fun for both of us, and we can still visit with my family. Am I the idiot for refusing to forgive my husband, who made dinner plans with my mother-in-law instead of me? I am a 33-year-old woman, married to my 35-year-old husband. He's never been a fan of Valentine's Day because it's a performative bullshit holiday. But we tend to either have a nice dinner at home, go out to eat, or exchange small gifts. It's not a huge priority for me either. It's Valentine's Day. He texted me at 1 p.m. to say he was sorry he forgot today was Valentine's Day. I said it was fine. We have both been busy. A few hours later, I asked him what he'd like to eat, or would he rather go get dinner, assuming we would spend the evening together. He informed me he already had plans with his mom, who was in town, and that I could go if I wanted. I declined. An hour later, he let me know his mom canceled their dinner and asked if I still wanted to get dinner. That's when I lost it. I cursed him out for essentially making me feel like a second choice and forgetting about me that day. Not once during the day did he even say I love you. He told me I was overreacting, that he forgot, but I was being really hateful, and he takes me out all the time the rest of the year. Why is today a big deal? It's just a stupid fucking holiday. We didn't speak all week until today when he tried to apologize again, but followed it with almost the exact same argument from before, dismissing my feelings and then blaming me for getting angry at him. He believes I just wanted an excuse to rip into him. I have no more energy to try to make him see why I'm so hurt by his actions, and honestly don't know if I'll ever get over how hurt I am by his response to this whole thing. He said, I would have made it up to you, but I'm not going to grovel and be your emotional punching bag. Wow. Am I the idiot? Everyone sucks here. Him for dismissing your feelings, you for giving such relevance to a holiday that you don't consider important yourself. Moreover, I don't know if he sees his mom often, but if my mom was in town, she would be a priority. I would probably not see her on Valentine's Day, but it wouldn't be impossible. You're the idiot. In one breath, you say you don't care about the holiday, and then you flip mode to Looney Town because he became available when dinner with his mom was canceled and asked if you'd like to grab something to eat. Dude, what? Not the idiot. If you're still together next year, consider booking yourself a nice staycation at a luxury resort and spa next Valentine's Day. Like hot tubs, massages, etc. Do not tell him where. When he wonders where you are, tell him you're treating yourself to some self-love because you deserve it. They'll be desperate to join you. Should she forgive him? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for telling my brother-in-law's girlfriend she was overdressed for dinner with my in-laws? We have dinner with my husband's family at least twice a month, and it's always a very casual affair. My brother-in-law is planning to propose to his girlfriend, so his parents said it was okay for him to start bringing her to them. She was nervous about her first family dinner, so they came to our house first, and we were going to go together to make it easier on her. You could tell she had put a lot of effort into her outfit, but she was definitely overdressed. I wasn't going to say anything, but she asked me if I was not going to change, and I told her that nobody ever dressed up for these dinners. She was a little overdressed, but I did make it a point to tell her she looked lovely. However, she went into panic mode after I told her she was overdressed, because she thought my in-laws were the type of family to dress nicely, even at home, based on how they dress in public and my mother-in-law's personality. I told her it wasn't a big deal, but she wouldn't calm down, and she ended up fighting with my brother-in-law because he hadn't warned her and refused to go to the dinner. He blamed me because he thought I made her feel unwelcome, with my unnecessary comment when I knew how nervous she was. I told him he could have just taken her home to change quickly instead of arguing with her, which has only made him more upset with me. His parents are also unhappy that they never attended dinner, and my brother-in-law keeps trying to get them to blame me for it. Am I the idiot? Yes, you are the idiot for telling her she was overdressed. You should have simply told her that you were not going to change and let her figure out the dress code herself. By telling her that she was overdressed, it became personal for her. Everyone sucks here. When she asked if you were getting changed, you could have just said, "No, we mostly dress casually for these dinners, so I'm just going to wear this," without telling her she was overdressed. Your girlfriend overreacted, your brother-in-law for not offering to take her home to change or telling her the dress code, and your parents for getting upset that your brother-in-law and girlfriend missed the dinner. Not the idiot. She asked you why you weren't changing your clothes and getting dressed up, and you told her that it wasn't that type of meal. Then she freaked out. I don't understand why people are calling you the idiot. Was she wrong for getting overdressed? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for objecting to a group of people coming in and playing a loud game at my table in a coffee shop? My team at work is remote, so I work from home. I typically spend part of my workday at a local coffee shop where most customers are working on their computers. It's a popular spot, so sometimes it's hard to find a table. Often, customers who don't know each other will end up sharing the largest tables. When I arrived at the coffee shop today, the only open table was the largest table in the shop. It wasn't an enormous table. It seats 5 people total, but only 4 comfortably. I set up my computer and got to work. I was finishing up a weeks-long project against a deadline later today. About half an hour later, 2 men approached the table and asked if anyone was sitting on the other side. I said no and moved my sweatshirt off the table to make room for them. I assumed they were there to work because they wore backpacks. They set their backpacks down and went to order their drinks. When they came back, one of them said to me, "Just so you know, 6 more people are coming, and we are going to play Dungeons and Dragons here, so it will be pretty loud." I objected. I said that it was fine if they were there to work or have a conversation on the other side of my table. But trying to squeeze 7 people into the 4 remaining seats and playing a loud party game wasn't going to work for me. They told me I was entitled, and because this was a public space, I basically just had to deal with it. I thought this was rude. I told them they were crowding me out of my table, because it would be impossible for me to work at the table if they were using it as a game table with a lot of other people. They had already asserted that it would get very loud. I decided to leave because I didn't have time to waste for the fast-approaching deadline. As I was packing up, they mocked me for being upset, saying that they were confident I'd figure it out, and that this too shall pass. Because there were no open seats in the coffee shop, I just went home. To me, it seems that if someone is at a table first, then anyone who joins that table should be respectful of that person. Yes, it's a public space, but am I really entitled to ask that they not disrupt my table with a loud game because I was already sitting there? What's the etiquette for sharing tables in a public space? Edit. To clarify, this coffee shop is right next to a university. Some people bring 27-plus-inch desktop monitors and camp out all day. I don't. 95 to 100% of customers are studying or working. It's definitely the norm at this shop, more so than others I go to. Before my current laptop-based job, I worked as a barista for several years. I know to share space, and I also keep buying things to pay for the space I occupy. I buy something every hour, including at least 1 meal each time I'm there, and I usually stay 1 to 3 hours. I did not expect or ask for silence or quiet. The coffee shop normally has ambient noise. My objection was specifically about these men using the table as a D&D game table with a group too large to fit, because this effectively forced me off the table. Not the idiot. People who come along later with more people than there are seats for are rude. That is apart from any other noise considerations. However, people do like to push single folks around. I'm not sure about the noise factor. I think the only recourse you would have had would be to complain to staff. They're the only ones that have say-so over customers' behavior. And if this group regularly comes to play games there, and the management doesn't mind, then you do have to put up with it. You're the idiot. It's a coffee shop, not an office. And having a table for 6 is just the icing on top of your asshole. Those 7 people are going to make the coffee shop more money than you, even if they just have 1 drink each. Is he wrong for wanting some peace and quiet? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for not sitting in my assigned seat? My older brother got married last weekend, and I was invited. Although our relationship has been weird lately, I did go. I was told to sit in the front on my brother's side, but I sat in the back instead to avoid our dad. At the reception, my assigned seat was at the same table as my dad, so I asked my cousin to switch seats with me, and she reluctantly agreed. The maid of honor asked me to go to my assigned seat for a bit so the photographer could get candids of me and my other siblings. I asked if my dad was still there. She said, obviously, so I declined. She asked if you were going to be a prick about everything. Why did you even come? I told her to piss off, and she left me alone the rest of the night. When the reception started winding down, I left. The Mo's boyfriend was drunk as a skunk at this point, and as I left, he told me all the bridesmaids are gossiping about what an idiot I am. I've been thinking about it. I know people are supposed to sit where they are assigned, but I think my brother should have known I wouldn't be okay with that and foreseen I wouldn't accept that seat. Am I the idiot for not following instructions on his day? Not the idiot. Your brother knows about your relationship with dad and should known better than to sit you next to him. It might have even resulted in a fight at the wedding. You removed that possibility by moving seats. What is wrong with that? Nothing. You showed up to support bro. That's all he can ask of you. You're the idiot. If you knew your dad would be there, then why didn't you just give your brother a heads up beforehand that you didn't want to sit near him? Sounds like you made an assumption. I think my brother should have known, which is frankly pretty selfish. Weddings are often highly stressful events, so expecting him to read your mind on top of planning everything is a lot. Do you have to stay in your assigned seat? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for smoking pot in my friend's apartment and getting him evicted? I have a buddy who is part of my friend group, who smokes a lot of weeds. Whenever he comes over to my house, he lights up. I have to constantly chase him outside. I smoke weed too. I just don't do it in my house. I smoke outside. Anyways, a few of us were over at his place for the Super Bowl, and I lit up on his balcony. I figured if he was comfortable smoking in my house, he must smoke at his place. I did not want to do it indoors, though. He comes running out and tells me to put it out. It's a smoke-free building. Poop, I guess I wasn't quick enough. He texted me today, and he has been evicted, and he lost his security deposit. I feel like an idiot. He is mad. Some of our friends are pissed off at me, but a few of them point out that I literally have had to throw him outside at my house because he kept smoking inside. He wants me to put his security deposit so he can get a new place. I might give him some money because I feel shitty about the situation. I didn't mean to cause him problems. I just thought he was so used to smoking at his place that is why he always forgot at my house. Edit. I've never rented or leased a home. I went from my parents' house to buying my own after saving up a down payment. Thank you all for the information. I'm going to ask to see his eviction to see if I was the only reason he was evicted. Not the idiot. He got evicted because a friend of his was smoking outside on the balcony for a minute or so. I'm not buying that it was the sole cause of his eviction. What evidence did the property management company have? Legal evictions usually take some time anyway. I bet your friend hasn't been paying his rent, or he smokes indoors at his place all the time since he had no problem doing it at yours. Everybody sucks here. You're the idiot for assuming it's okay to light up at his place, and he's one for not listening to you. It seems like a toxic friendship. You're the idiot. You should never smoke inside someone else's home without their permission, especially in an apartment. You definitely shouldn't smoke weed outside if it's illegal. I understand he does it in your house, but you allow him to. He does it, you don't reinforce it, and you keep allowing him over. You need to stop letting it slide. I highly doubt this is the only reason he's getting evicted, but it very well could be depending on his lease. Would I be the idiot if I pull my money out of my friend's business if she starts selling shameful bedroom items? English is my second language, so bear with me. I helped my friend start a somewhat successful nighttime or odd hours grocery delivery business around some universities in my country. I managed the business for the first 6 months, personally delivered groceries at odd hours, and gave her around 80% of the starting capital to get going. I have no ownership stake in the business. I don't expect anything from her, and I did all this as a favor to her. Some people do know that I helped her. Recently, she told me that there is demand for shameful items like condoms and lube, etc. in our city, which can't be bought easily, and was planning to start delivering those items discreetly. I don't like that. I'm unmarried, and I don't want my name being dragged into those kinds of shameful things. My parents have started looking into marriage proposals for me, so I don't want my name being dirtied at this time. Even if my name wasn't being dragged into those kinds of things, I would still be very uncomfortable with just my money being used to deal with those kinds of things. I immediately said no to her, but she didn't seem happy about it and wanted me to reconsider. This is all very new for me, as I didn't think she would consider selling them. It has made me see her in a different light, and I don't think I can continue to support her with a clear conscience. I am tempted to ask for my money back, but I feel like it will be a bad move. My initial amount is still worth about half of the company's current capital. She is also planning to pursue a master's in the USA next year, and she is using the money from this business to show financial support for the visa. If I ask for my money back, it might be a setback to her. I really don't want to do that, but I cannot continue supporting her in good faith. I know that if I ask for my money, it might be the end of my friendship. Edit. Because the amount of money was large, I gave it to her with a notarized contract to protect myself. Legally, I have the right to ask for the money. Either I can ask for it all back with a 3-month notice, or I can ask for a schedule. Before this, I never intended to ask for even a cent back and always intended to write it off, essentially making it into something like a gift. I will not be asking for any money back for both our sakes. But I made it clear to her that she should do her activities discreetly, so that my name would not even be marginally involved in those kinds of activities. I also made it clear that I would not help her further. Why I don't want my name associated with those kinds of stuff, gossip here travels quite fast. My family is a rural family, not an urban one. If any of my relatives learn that I have any kind of involvement in buying and selling those kinds of stuff, they will massively pressure my parents to disown me. Also, I will be known as a loose girl in some of my social circles. It will be very hard to get a job or even a place to rent in the same area. My marriage prospects would also be ruined. You're the idiot. Bangladesh, ma? Low population numbers, low sex crime numbers. Sounds like your friend would be doing a service selling condoms, and Plan B women need access to these items all over the world. Help break the generational cycle of keeping the poor poor. People are having sex with or without your friend's contribution. She is helping people be responsible members of society. Religion is a tool used to keep people down. Don't contribute to that by pulling your funding from your friend. Not the idiot. While your morals sound more than a little conservative, especially for a Reddit audience, you are allowed to hold whatever moral beliefs you want. I also assume you are from a country where values are conservative and probably strongly tied to religion. Not the idiot. This was not the correct place to make this post. Your audience right now are privileged first world citizens who do not understand the fact that you could literally lose your life if you don't protect yourself. Do what you think is best for you to ensure that you remain protected. Would you take the money back? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for not staying away longer so that my BF and her boyfriend can have sex? Hello, Internet. Just for context, my best friend and I live together in a flat. We each have our own rooms. So yesterday was Valentine's Day. My best friend asked me to stay out of the flat for the evening so that she and her BF could have a nice date night. I know they haven't had sex yet, so I kinda knew what she was implying. I had school until 1 p.m. and got home at 7 p.m. I kind of sensed that that was too early, so I went in my room, hoping that'd be okay, because I didn't want to bother them. I texted my roommate an hour earlier that I was on my way home, to give her a heads up. Anyways, I even apologized to them for coming home so early, but they said it was okay, and we even ate dinner together. So today I'd eat breakfast, her boyfriend heads home, and she's a little pissed off. So I asked what they did yesterday, and she said, well, we obviously didn't sleep together, because plans changed, implying me coming home. That pissed me off, because I did try to give them space even after I got home and also texted her beforehand. So I told her she and her boyfriend should just get a hostel room or something if it's that important. Which was mean, I know, and I'm regretting saying that, but yeah, I just feel very confused. I know I could have stayed away longer, so it could 100% be my fault, but I also don't appreciate her making it seem like it's my fault they haven't had sex. But it's not, So please tell me what you think. Am I an idiot? For context, my roommate and her buff met up at 4 p.m. I didn't know that. She's studying for her bachelor's run, so that's what she did up to that point. I don't know about him. She also said that she would sit in a bookstore until 11 p.m. if I asked, which I believe. But again, I wasn't sure when it was too early to be home. Also, they can't go to his place because his roommate and my best friend, and also me, don't get along, to say it lightly, and feel very uncomfortable around each other. You're the idiot. You agreed to do something, which was nice of you, then didn't do it. 7 is the beginning of the evening. Having a roommate means you sometimes will have to compromise. Couldn't you have gone to a movie or something? Not the idiot. You guys share an apartment, not a room. Why would you have to leave the whole apartment so they can have sex? If she wanted complete privacy, they should have booked a room. The only thing you did wrong was sit down and eat with them. You should have gotten your food and left them alone. Would you be annoyed if your roommate came back early? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for not notifying my husband about my overtime? First, a little backstory. 3 years ago, I, female 37, gave birth. Since then, I've been at home, raising my daughter. Now that she's older, I decided to get a part-time afternoon job, so that my husband, male 40, could watch over our daughter while I worked. At first, I found a job at a pastry shop, but the owner was terribly rude, and I was working overtime, unpaid, every single day, so I left. I've started working at a burger joint, and I actually really enjoy it. The problem started when I started going to work 15 minutes earlier and leaving a little later, in order to get to know my coworkers. Everyone has been really welcoming and helpful, and I felt rude leaving the second my shift was over, while everyone else was staying for a bit to chat. My husband said that he was awkward with me going in a little early, but that's it. Yesterday I was working until midnight. We were really understaffed, and I didn't even get my break or even drank a cup of water during my whole shift. At midnight, my manager asked me to stay for another hour, so I did. The second I entered the crew room, I heard my phone ringing. It was my husband. I grabbed my jacket and called him back. I told him that I just got off work and how busy it was. He asked me if I knew where he was, and I didn't understand the question until I saw him with our 3-year-old a minute away from my job at 1 in the morning. He started yelling at me and saying that I should have called him, that he was worried, and that things have to change because things will get worse. He also forbade me calling him while he's at work. He works for himself. He has an office. At some point, I tried to calm things down by apologizing for not notifying him and explained to him that I couldn't go to the crew room because I was at the register. He said that he didn't accept the apology and we haven't talked since. Am I really that much of an odd for not notifying him of working an extra hour? P.S. My job is 2 blocks from our home, and I walk one of the most well-lit and busier streets to get there. Update, he called me. He apologized for overreacting. He said that he was worried, but he also has trouble adjusting to caring for our kid for long hours and having to be the one putting her to bed. I apologized for not informing him and promised to do so in the future. I hope things will get better. Everyone sucks here. You could have said to your manager when he asked you to stay longer that you needed a minute to inform your husband. You were an hour late home at midnight. I understand he was worried. He could have, however, behaved like a normal adult, not yelling like a madman. He was most likely afraid, and fear is a powerful feeling that can make people act badly. Maybe you should both act like adults and talk to each other. You're the idiot. You should have told your boss that you didn't have a problem with OT, but you'd have to let your fam know. I can't judge the don't call him at work thing because that needs more information. I don't understand how this is relevant to this story. Is she wrong for not telling her husband? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot if I tell my friend her BF is planning to propose? My female 27 best friend has been dating her boyfriend, male 26, for over 5 years. A while back, he reached out to me to help figure out ring size and the setup, so he could make this the most magical day for her. Having known my friend for over 20 plus years, I know exactly how she wants her proposal to go and who she wants to be there. So I relayed all this information to him months ago via text and over the phone. I even took the time to covertly find and confirm which ring she would love the most. A little background. My friend is incredibly family and friend oriented, and in the past expressed to me on multiple occasions, especially during holiday season, that in the 5 years they've been together, he hasn't really made much of an effort to indoctrinate himself into her family or friendships the way she has for his. While I do generally like him, I've always felt that he is incredibly self-serving and self-focused. Recently, through a mutual friend, I found out he started a group text between his, emphasis on his friends and his family, to set up the time and date of the proposal. He has not only excluded myself, and according to the screenshots I've seen, he is doing everything verbatim I suggested he do, but he has completely excluded her family and other close friends from the event. He is planning on only having his boys and family present for the occasion, and knowing my friend, this would ultimately break her heart not being able to share this moment with her loved ones. I got heated and called him. At first, he was dodging my questions, then just outright said, "This is my proposal, and I've spent enough time and money to choose how I do it. Just be happy for your friend. It's not like you're not coming to the wedding." This infuriated me, and to make matters worse, I ran into her mom and dad at the grocery store and subtly asked if they knew of any possibility she was getting engaged. They were unaware, and I know for a fact my friend has told him that he needs to ask her parents for their blessing. She's somewhat traditional. My friend wears her heart on her sleeve, and I can predict how this event will go down when she sees all of his close friends and family and none of hers. Considering her previous sentiments about his lack of interest in her family or life, she will 100% see this as being hurtful and selfish, and I know she'll cry. To make matters worse, the location of the proposal is a whopping 30 minutes from her parents' home. I don't want to get involved in a fight or reveal the surprise, but on the other hand, I feel I owe it to my lifelong friend to help her avoid being hurt and disappointed. Maybe even helping her rethink what her future would look like with someone who just doesn't really appreciate what she values in life. So am I the idiot if I tell my friend her boyfriend is going to propose? Edit: I did not tell her parents. I covertly inquired if he had spoken to them yet about proposing, since it's been 5 years, like in a joking way. Edit 2. The proposal is scheduled for this weekend. I will give you guys an update on how it goes. After so many responses, I have decided not to say anything and to let things play out. I gave him an opportunity by expressing the need to invite her parents and friends like she's always wanted, and he chose not to. That's on him, not me. You're the idiot. Stay out, far, far away. Let this play out. It's between them. You should not have told her parents either. If she hates the proposal, she can say no. Not the idiot. But don't stop him. He's showing his true colors. Let him do it. You shouldn't stop her from experiencing this, even if it ends up hurting her. But you can be there to help her pick up the pieces if you were right about how this plays out. Just be ready with a pint of ice cream and some girly films for if when it all goes wrong. Should she tell her friend? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for laughing at my mother and calling her crazy for her conservative advice? My husband, male 32, and I, female 29, have recently been struggling with our marriage due to financial worries and our sons, male 4, recent health issues. This has caused us to not only spend less quality time with each other, but mainly has led to us fighting fairly often about pretty much everything. The solution most likely would be to just communicate better, but we're just having quite a bit of trouble recently. Every time I think we talked it out and things will be better, it goes back to the way it was before in a matter of days. A few days ago, I asked my mother for advice when I was dropping off the kids at her place for the day. She's been married now for over 35 years to my dad and has 6 adult children, so I figured she must be doing something right. She responded quickly saying that it was all my fault for not putting my husband and his needs first. It came out so quick I figured she must have been waiting for me to ask her opinion. I was shocked. Not only did she completely pass the blame on me, what she said sounded like it came straight from the 50s. And it didn't get better from there. She continued elaborating on how and why I've been doing everything wrong from the start, criticizing my career choice, my hobbies, my clothing choices, etc. Now what I did next was probably not completely the right call, but I don't really regret it either. Instead of responding, I just started laughing loudly for like a minute or so. She asked why I was laughing, and I called her crazy for putting all the blame on me and playing on such outdated stereotypes. Next thing I know, she screams and cusses at me and throws me and the kids out. It's been 4 days and she hasn't responded to any of my texts or calls, and I'm getting worried. Apparently, she's also banned my dad from answering the phone. I do know through my siblings that she's doing awk, but apparently refuses to talk about our fight with them. I've thought about trying to apologize to her. So far, I've mostly asked to talk to her, and if she's alright. We usually check in on each other every day, but I'm not sure I can get myself to lie to her to restore our relationship. In addition to the injury, my husband is also somewhat mad at me since my parents are the only source of free childcare we have, and we bring them to their place most Sundays to catch up on housework, bills, etc. Am I the idiot? Everyone sucks here. You asked for advice, and I don't believe for a second that at the age of 29, and as a married parent, you didn't have a pretty good idea already what your mom's beliefs were. Not the idiot. Your mom finally revealed that she hates who you chose to be as an adult. It's a hard pill to swallow, but you shouldn't keep people who hate you in your life. Good luck. No idiots here. Well, obviously, don't laugh at the person providing you with free childcare. Lesson learned. All this boils down to really different worldviews. Looks like you need a babysitter and a marriage counselor though.